Hello, welcome back. I'm Wire Wizard. For this episode, I'm going to show you how to build a double wishbone suspension and drop a few tips on setting up a simple plasma drill. Now let's get on with the tutorial. First thing when making a vehicle is setting up our spawn bed. We place a temporary block, then place the bed upside down like this. Next, we place our driver's seat on top and add a heavy 4-block beam at the back. We're using this specific beam because its heavy weight helps lower the vehicle's center of gravity. Now, we drop in a gas container and a battery container. It's way easier to grab them and press right-click in the air. Then weld them onto the vehicle to get the orientation just right. Now we place 2 straight pipes on each side like this. Next, we place 2 T-piece pipes on top, and we also do this on the other side. Then we place 4 bearings on the pipes we just placed, and we repeat this on the other side. Pro tip, color your pipes now or else you won't be able to color them later. Now we place elbow pipes facing outwards on all our bearings. Next, we extend our build with straight pipes. Now we place T-piece pipes on all the lower bars we made. Next, we place a bearing facing the center on each T-piece pipe. Then an elbow pipe going up on each bearing. Now for the suspensions. Honestly, don't sweat whether you're using bearing suspensions or regular ones, or if they're pointing up or down. What you really want to pay attention to is the level. If you're working on a heavier build, you're definitely going to want higher level suspension to hold it all together. Next, we place elbow pieces on all 4 suspensions. Now we place bearings on all 4 pipes. We then attach a thick elbow pipe pointing towards the driver's seat. Then we attach bearings on all 4 pipes. We place elbow pipes on each bearing, orienting them so they point toward each other. And then insert a straight pipe to bridge the gap. Once those are in place, we just weld everything together. Next, we extend the upper bar using a straight pipe until it lines up with the lower bar. Then, we fit elbow pipes onto every bar, angling them outward, away from the vehicle. Now we place a bearing on every tip of the upper and lower bars on each side. On the top bars, we place an elbow piece going down. As for the lower bars, we place a corner pipe pointing up and out. Finally, we connect the lower and upper bars with a straight pipe. And of course, don't forget to weld them together. Next, we add a bearing on each end of the pipes. This will be used as part of our dynamic camber system. On each bearing, we place an elbow pipe facing up. Up front, we drop in a steering bearing, then run an elbow pipe straight out to the side. At the back, we just go straight for the elbow pipes facing out to the side. Next, we fit a bearing onto the end of each pipe. These will give us our mounting points for the wheels. At the back of the driver's seat, we set up the engine and 2 controllers. The controllers will control the ride height and the caster angle. Next, we run the wiring from our controllers to the height-adjusting suspension bearings. And don't forget to flip the left side bearings. Now we run the wiring from our controllers to the caster angle bearings. Then flip the left side bearings. Then we just repeat the same thing at the back. And finally, let's wire the driver's seat to the steering bearings. We then take it off the lift to check if we welded everything properly. Looks like we missed a weld. Let me get this back up on the lift real quick and finish it off. Now we set bearings 1 and 2 to 10 degrees on both controllers. Let's take a look at the front. Yeah, that's not doing what it's supposed to do. No big deal though. We just need to reverse the bearing rotation. We'll do the exact same thing in the rear, so both suspensions are positioned lower. Next, we set bearings 3 and 4 to 40 degrees on both controllers. This introduces positive caster into the setup, which is really the secret behind how our dynamic camber works. Let's throw it back to a quick clip from our last video showing how camber affects handling. This is without the dynamic camber system. As you can see, the car suffers from significant understeer through the turns. Now, let's enable it and see the difference. Thanks to the dynamic camber system, we've got way more front-end traction, making our turns crisp and precise. Now, let's get back to our build. We mount the wheels and drop the car off the lift so we can get to work tuning the suspension. When setting the suspension strength, keep an eye on when the car starts lifting off the ground. Once you spot that, add 1 or 2 more points of strength to lock it in. Next, we run the wiring from the gas container to the engine, then connect the engine to the driver's seat. Finally, we hook up the engine to all of our wheel bearings. Now for the fun part, let's get this front attachment built and mount it up. First, we lay down 2 forward-facing elbow pieces, then mount 3 controllers right on the front of the vehicle, and color it black so it looks cool. Next, we drop 4 bearings into place, making sure they're oriented just like this. Next, we mount T-pipes onto the bearings and push the build further out with a few more pipes. Most importantly, we need to weld these 2 sections together so they act as a single swivel mechanism once we wire them to the driver's seat. Next, we extend the front end further out and off to the sides with a few more T-pipes, then pop a bearing onto each end. Attach an elbow piece pointing forward. If your pipes are moving around like this, put it up on a lift. From there, put a piston on both pipes, connect the 2 using T-pipes, and make sure to weld them up. Now we place 2 suspensions in downward-facing elbow pieces. From there, put 2 bearings on each elbow, run T-pipes and straight pipes across to connect them, and weld everything together. Drop bearings onto each end, then attach a corner pipe pointing down and toward the back. After that, run an elbow pipe facing the center, bridge both sides using straight pipes, and make sure to weld them up. And finally, we've dropped 2 more bearings into place. From here you can hook up whatever attachment you need, like a saw, a drill, or a plasma cutter. Next, wire 1 controller to the saw blade bearings to get them spinning. Make sure to flip the direction on the right side bearing, set both to rotate 360 degrees on activation, and don't forget to set the controller to loop. Let's place a temporary button to test it out. We also wire that button to the piston so it extends every time we press it. Now, we add another button and a switch and connect them to the seat. Next, wire the second button to the middle controller, then run that to these vertical bearings. This gives us full control over the up and down pitch of our front attachment. I'm setting the controller to these values just to demonstrate the movement. Adjust them as needed for your build, and I'll show you the ideal setup for the plasma drill later on. Next, wire the 3rd switch to the top controller, then connect that controller to the vertical bearings near the tip. This will give us precise control over the tilt of the front attachment. Let's set this controller to 90 degrees on both bearings for now. Rather than letting the attachment hang low by default, adjust the middle controller to these settings so it stays lifted. You'll definitely want this raised angle once we switch over to the plasma drill. Next, we'll add some protection pieces around the build to safeguard our components. Next, let's place our final buttons and switches and wire them directly to the driver's seat. Button 1 will trigger both the pistons and the attachment spinner. Button 2 operates the vertical swivel mechanism. Switch 3 toggles to tip angle, and switch 4 controls our overall ride height. Adjust both controllers with these settings. Now let's finish up the rest of the external protection of our vehicle. Now let's place 2 large chests on both sides. And color everything black so it looks cool. Next, we add our steering controlled lights. Now, let's configure the vehicle so we can mount and run the plasma drill effectively. All we need to do here is hook the plasma drill up to the battery container and map it to button 1. Feel free to tweak the controller settings depending on how much range of motion you want for those angles. For the top controller, my recommended setup is to set the starting position to 60 degrees and the activation position to plus 45 degrees. Now, let's test this in the open world. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And of course, if you guys got some suggestions on what content you like, leave it in the comments section down below. By the way, I'm Wire Wizard, and I'll see you on the next one.